know how that smells.
We are rolling. Talking about you'll catch right on as soon as I hit it.
Okay.
Hi guys, we're back for part 2 of becoming one, or how to become one. I haven't decided how much how to do this video yet, but you guys know
The power of agreement.
The power of agreement, yeah. All right, these are the Jalen and Cacie stories.
You're my girl, you're the type of woman to make a man get right. You're my world, you keep my mind spinning all through the night.
So last week we were talking about the power of agreement, how to become one, and we got really fired up. I think it was pretty awesome. One of my favorite episodes. But one thing I want to really get into is, well, first I want to say this. One of the things that I learned in my counseling session, when we were getting married, one thing that I remember very clearly is, he said, the pastor who was counseling us said, don't ever, he was talking to me, he said, don't go and do something that God told you to do without your wife being in agreement. If you believe you heard from God, wait until she hears it too. If she's not in agreement, don't do it. It won't work. And I kept that. And I don't think I always completely followed that completely.
No.
But, well, here's the thing. I wouldn't go and do stuff without her, but I would try to, like I said last week, browbeat her and try to make her see it, because I felt like we got to do this now. If we don't do this now, we're going to miss out on the blessing, and I was just really foolish.
Well, I'm going to, an example of that is Jalen's a giver. He's a super giver. There's not a selfish bone in his body when it comes to giving. He will give his last dime. He will give his last t-shirt. He will give his last pair of socks. He will give his last morsel of bread to anybody or anything that he feels needs it. And that I love about him. But at the same time, sometimes I would like, okay, babe.
But I'll give her last morsel of bread.
Yeah,
there you see the problem.
And it's like, oh my gosh, it can be a little bit scary sometimes. I'm not gonna even lie, and I'm like, okay, God, what am I to do with this? Because I don't want to ever tell him not to give. If God is speaking to him by giving, babe, give. But what we both realized is I couldn't just go along with it just because he's a giver and he said God said it. I need to hear it too. I need to know. And it's not that I require God to give me all the download details about it, but I need to have a witness in my spirit about it too, because it's our money, it's our resources, and I need to be in agreement so that the blessing, the full blessing, can go along with it and we can get the results of it, of the results of reaping the harvest from my giving. So I can remember he was doing it a lot when we first got married, and I would just go along with it. And even though sometimes I've been gritting my teeth and, you just don't know. I mean, I could go for days talking about some of this stuff. But I can remember just once we sat down and said, look, we're going to be in agreement about everything. We laid out the money. This is what we're going to give. This is what we're not going to give. And we had to talk about, okay, he would talk to me and he was saying, Cacie, are you in agreement with me giving this amount of money for this particular project or this ministry, whatever? And sometimes I was tempted to say, sure, but then I'm like, you know what? No. I had to tell him, no, I'm not in agreement about that.
Let me get very specific. There was a point where we were giving a lot because Bob says to give, but she wasn't in agreement with all of it. So I actually had to dial we had to actually go back and reevaluate all this. I said, look, there was a lot of giving that I was doing out of I'm talking about like continuous monthly giving. And I said, I was doing before we got married. And I just kept doing it. And then I signed us up for some other stuff to start giving into too. And you went along with a lot of it because you were never going to say no to me. I said, but how much were you actually in agreement with? I said, because the seed we're putting in the ground spiritually is not yielding a harvest, we're not in agreement. I said, so the floor is yours. I wrote down everything. Made a little spreadsheet. It's all the giving we're doing. Tell me what you're in agreement with. And if we're not in agreement with it, then we'll take it off the list. And I had to be afraid that I wasn't going to lose out with God because I felt like he told me to do it and, and all that. And we got counseling too. We went to our pastors, we got counsel, and they were in agreement that you got to be in agreement, So
because then otherwise you're just throwing away money.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not helping anything.
It taught me some things about my giving, that although it was good for me to be reckless with giving and that money doesn't own me and resources don't own me, but I was so reckless with giving that I wasn't keeping track of what I was giving and I wasn't reaping any results from it. And God never intended for you to give and not receive. It comes together. It is more blessed to give than to receive because the blessing comes on the giving and then you receive. That's the way it works. It's harvest. Seed time and harvest will never pass away. So the Bible says. So we went down and we crossed some things off, said, all right, this is what we're in agreement about and this is what we're going to give. And it was like almost scary for me because I was like, no, we got it. But after we did it, prospering. Everything was working together, And so you have to be, you talk about permission and agreement, right? Now, I call it permission. I don't mind saying I got to get permission from my wife to do something. But you were right. The real word is agreement. And here's the reason why. It's not because I'm not able to do it. I mean, the Bible says a lot. I can do all things, but not all things are profitable, right? So I can do anything that I want to do, but I don't do anything I want to do. I do only the things that we're in agreement about. And I think for both of us, or probably still learning in some areas, but learning to I remember one time you had spent some money. You were like, I almost wasn't going to tell you that I spent this money, but I realized I had to do it. And the same thing with me. There's something, a decision I made. I can't remember what it was. Maybe some money too, but I was like, but I got to ask her for it. I got to tell her that I did this. I can't hide this from her.
Because it affects the whole budget.
Yeah.
It affects the whole household. If I just start spending money frivolously without him knowing, and I'm going to tell you what it does really. It's not that the money wasn't mine to use, whatever. But you can get into a habit. I think it opens doors for other things to creep in when you're just dishonest that way.
Yeah.
When you just hold back information from your spouse.
And it's selfish. You're trying to protect yourself.
Yeah.
You're trying to preserve yourself.
Exactly. So I was like, you know what? I wasn't going to tell you, but I'm going to tell you. And it brings not only freedom, but it's trust.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing that it builds in your relationship is trust. Because now I believe I sort of see the trust in him towards me about our money. He can trust me with our money.
Yep.
And because we now have established this line of communication, we're on the same page. So me telling him, babe, this is what I'm going to do with the money. And he had no problem with it. And it wasn't me giving permission, but it's saying that I'm a team player. And I'm not going to do anything without my teammate. And I want to build this trust between us. And that's what it says. And that speaks volumes in your relationship.
That speaks respect.
It
both
does.
spouses want to be respected.
Absolutely.
So you need that agreement, because if you don't, it's better like this. If you got $5 that I don't know about and you keep it secret so that you can spend it whenever you want, you may have some pleasure in whatever that $5 you spent it on. But there's great pleasure, and not just pleasure, but grace, and letting me know about it and letting me agree you can spend on whatever you want, and then you go do it, because now you got backing, and now there's a grace that comes with that. And it's a very supernatural thing. If you're not born again, please get born again, because you can't do any of the stuff we're talking about unless you're born again, because the grace that comes with marriage and the power of Jesus himself it's an amazing thing. But Jesus himself wouldn't do anything without the Father's permission. He said, I only do what I see my Father do, and I only say what I hear him say. He would do nothing without the Father. He said, I can do nothing of myself except I get it from the Father. That was just the way he did business. He was in perfect sync with the Father. And so he was successful. Success comes in that. When you get two people together, they have to walk together if you want success. So here's the interesting thing about marriage. It brings boundaries. And I use this word because it shakes people. It brings bondage because it binds two people together. But it also brings abundance and increase. Anything God creates brings increase. And he created marriage. And it expands your boundaries. See, you get so limited in your thinking when you're individual. When I'm on my own, I'm single. I can go where I want to go. I can stay out as late as I want to stay, and I can have fun. But when you get bound to a spouse, suddenly you can't just make those decisions unilaterally anymore. You got to find out if your spouse if that's all right. Are you all right with me staying out that late? Or maybe we need to go together. Or maybe we need to do this. Or maybe we don't need to be going out today. It's not good for the budget. So all that are restrictions. And if you're a very independent person, you don't like those restrictions. You don't like those boundaries. But when you come in agreement and you create those boundaries, suddenly the abundance of God can hit that marriage. And now your boundaries get expanded. So even though you are still within boundaries of this marriage and of y'all agreement, suddenly your scope increases and now you can do more. And we can do more, but we can do it together.
It only feels like bondage when you are walking in selfishness.
Yeah.
That's the only time marriage feels like a bondage is when you are selfish, when you're not willing to give of yourself, when you're not willing to be open to your spouse. That's when it feels like bondage.
But it brings freedom. We are freer people now. We've done more traveling. We've done more taking time off. There's a lot of things that we always wanted to do. We always talked about taking time off and not working too hard. We always talked about doing ministry. I think both of us were interested in traveling a little more than seeing a little bit more of the world. But we've done more of that married than we did apart. And you would think it would be easy to do it apart. There are people who delay getting married because it's like, well, I want to get on my travel out first. But I want to get my career going first. Everything that we've ever tried to do alone works so much better together. Business ideas work so much better together. Making money works so much better together. And all with those restrictions that we put in place about being in agreement. But when you get two people in agreement about something, there's so much power in that.
Can't stop
and you expand your boundaries.
You just cannot stop that kind of agreement.
So it's good boundary, and it's good binding to one another, and it's checks and balances. It keeps you safe.
It does.
It really does, because what happens is two people get married, and I think you think that however old I am, and when I got married, I'm just going to come on number 20. I'm 20, I got married, and I've been living this life for 20 years, and I've achieved whatever success I've got, so I know what I'm doing. And then you get another person, well, I've been living for 20 years, and I got success too, so I know what I'm doing. And so you got two different perspectives, and now y'all supposed to bend to each other? Well, no, I'm independent. And then it doesn't work, and so you're not in agreement, and maybe you end up with divorce, or you just end up with an unsatisfied marriage because you're not in agreement. But you've got to be willing to come together and sacrifice your viewpoint and understand that I don't know everything. And this person can teach me something. And maybe, just maybe, that's why God put us together, to teach each other something. And we learned that a lot, that we've made each other better. You just made me a better person, babe.
Yeah, I have.
I look better.
I have. Yes, you do.
No, I want to give you a good example. All this hair, you know what's going on here with my hair? If you knew me, my hair was always short. I only really did waves. And it was weird.
They were nice waves, too.
Yeah. And it was weird because I had this mental block that I couldn't grow my hair long. And there's a whole lot that goes into it. I had to be my own personal video about my own personal fears and insecurities. But I felt like I really just was not a person who would look good with long hair or could have long hair. I felt like it didn't fit my image or my personality. And so I just wouldn't do it, and I shouldn't do it, and I couldn't do it. And it became some weird rule for myself. But with her, she encouraged me to do it. And now I'm growing my hair, and I'm like, I don't want to cut it because I want to find out what all I can do.
Look,
like a whole
now,
new world
now I'm trying to reel him in a little bit.
Yeah, I got all free now.
Yeah, he's all free. He's feeling himself.
But it's like, it's these little things like that. You just become freer as a person. You know, I'm pretty sure I've done the same thing with you.
Oh, definitely. You've pushed me in ways. My confidence level has gone up, and it's not even about, because I seek your approval and I need you to affirm me.
Yeah.
It is you. I'm learning to see myself the way God sees me through your eyes.
Yeah.
And you've allowed me to help me see myself differently.
Yeah.
He's done the same thing for me. There's things that I'm doing or wearing that I would have never worn before. Especially, ladies, you gained some weight. And I've gained some weight. I ain't gonna lie about that. That's a whole nother video, or maybe not. I don't know. But I've always had issues with that. Feeling comfortable in my own skin, and the way you have loved me since we've been married, it has freed me in so many ways. I don't get emotional about that, but it's freed me so much because I finally opened myself up to your love. And it took me a little while to open myself up because I was so used to living in my insecurities and my fears and just having a whole different philosophy about myself that wasn't according to the Word of God. But I had to learn to be a functional, insecure person about certain things in my life. And I had a mentality about all of that was wrong. But you broke down those barriers for me. And now I'm more confident, even in this body that I have now that I'm working on. But I am more freer, and I'm not as hard on myself. And you've made me see myself differently. And you convinced me to cut all my hair off a couple years ago, and just do something different. So yes, he's brought so much value to me, and he's unlocked a lot of things in me that I didn't even know was in me, or things that I was scared to even try because of my own insecurities and fears. So that's how being in agreement works. And I know that may not sound like agreement, but that power of agreement just opens up so many other avenues to you as a married couple.
Yeah. One thing you said is you got to learn each other. You got to become an expert on your spouse.
Yeah.
All right. So that's why you got to sacrifice all your different ventures, all your businesses, all your ideas. You want to shut everything down so that you can pursue each other. You got to get a doctorate in your spouse. Know them better than anybody else. Know them better in some ways than they know themselves, because you've got to learn how to serve this person. If you're going to live with them, there ain't nobody on this planet else that you got to live with the rest of your life except your spouse. That's the only one that you're required to live with for the rest of your life by the rules of God. And so you better learn them better than you know your job, better than you know your education, anything else. You better know your spouse. You better learn them inside and out if you want to be successful in marriage. So you're like, okay, I want to become one. I want to trust my spouse. I'm not there yet. How do I get there? You're going to have to be the one to give first. If you're watching this video and your spouse isn't, maybe y'all watch it together, but at this moment decide I'm gonna give first. I'm gonna practice giving and receiving. And I'm gonna give them myself. I'm gonna lay down my life. I'm gonna begin to trust them. I'm gonna begin to include them in all my decision making. Everything smaller. We don't do anything without telling each other. You stop at the store on the way home, you tell me. If I'm going a different route home from work because GPS said, hey, I'm taking this road instead of this road, I'm gonna tell you, any cash, like if it's money that has to be allocated to something, we want to do something with it, we're telling each other, this is what we're doing. This is what's going on. I got a little extra money today. It's like we are just in communication constantly about everything that we're doing. And so be the one to give first. Decide, I'm going to start doing it first. I'm going to start serving them. I'm going to start speaking their love language. Those videos we gave y'all and that previous video on newlywed struggles, we gave some resources. Start watching those videos and learning how you can serve your spouse. Be the one to do it first. And I guarantee you, God's going to affect the heart of your spouse and they're going to do the same to you. But you got to start it. You can't be afraid that if I give of myself, they're going to take advantage of me.
Yeah, and so, exactly. Don't get into a relationship that you can't trust. And you may have to learn how to trust, initially when you get into your relationship. Everybody, I think, has to learn how to trust and to give of themselves. But don't resist that development. Develop trust. Develop that. And if you're with somebody who you feel like you just can't trust them because they've proven that they can't be trustworthy, then y'all need to seek counsel, like godly counsel. Y'all really need to sit down with somebody and figure those things out. Because I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna be hard for you if you don't get those things fixed. But this agreement thing has been just so awesome for us, and I encourage you to seek out agreement in everything that you do as a married couple, because, like we just mentioned, it just brought so much freedom in us and opened so many other doors to us as husband and wife. We love each other more deeply. We have a lot more fun together. And I just want to clarify one thing. I know we mentioned that, you may have to stop all your business ventures or whatever. We're not telling you to stop your business. You may not have to close down your business. You may
she had to close down hers.
Yeah, I did not have to close down my business. However, I was willing to.
Yeah.
You have to be sincerely willing to drop everything if that's what it takes to make your marriage good. But I will say this. I did dial back for a season my involvement with my business. I was doing a lot of, before we got married, I was on this campaign, this promotion. I was doing a lot of work, doing stuff all the time, and spending more hours at the salon. But then I decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to dial it back. And I'm going to be off these days. I'm going to do this because I need to be with him. Until God gave me the green light to start pushing again. Now I'm in the season of pushing things again. I'm in a project right now.
And I'm helping her.
And he's helping me. I just gave him a job in my business, so So I'm just saying that, it took us almost 3 years into our relationship to get to that point. So we just really kind of took it very easy the the second year.
Allow yourself to grow.
Yeah, allow ourselves to grow. We allow ourselves to grow as husband and wife and figure out all those kinks and things. And I think a lot of times we see a lot of people struggling 10, 15 years on the road is because in the first couple of years, they didn't give themselves time to gel together, to learn each other's language. They didn't give each other time to develop their wifeliness or their husbandness. I know I'm putting this on the end of words. It's not really where you're supposed to do it. But they didn't allow themselves to develop as one. So they struggle because you find two people married for 10, 15 years and they're still acting like they're single. And that's just, something's wrong with that.
Yeah, you're not single anymore. You're married.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just it. Like, stop trying to be Mr. or Mrs. Independent. Like, I'm not that way. I can't. Your spouse needs to know everything that's going on. Don't hide anything from them.
There's protection in that.
Yes, there's great protection. We did a whole series on how to protect our marriage. That stuff is true. Like, let your spouse know. If you're kind of hesitant about it, that probably means they need to know about it. Or you just didn't need to be doing it in the first place.
I would say that in the midst of the world that we live in now, we would probably be considered extreme married people. The way we talk, the way we believe is very extremely different than what society is pushing at us right now. Because they preach this idea that, don't let a man change, don't let a woman change you. But it's impossible to not change in a fruitful relationship.
You're supposed to.
You're supposed to. When you put a seed in the ground, it changes. Its whole composition changes in order for the tree to grow, and so that at some point it will blossom fruit. You can't stay the same. That seed cannot stay the same and expect to be a fruit tree, a fruit-bearing tree. So if you got the seed of marriage, if you got two people coming together to become one, do not expect to be the same. It's impossible. And for it to be growing and be fruitful, So what's the point of being together if you can be the same person? And the truth of the matter is, some people just want to be married for the status. They want to get married because everybody else doing it. It's pressure. Some for financial security, which in turn will not be financial security.
Think about it. All the things for you is selfish.
Yeah, it's
If you get married for selfish reasons, you will not be successful. You better get married knowing I'm about to go and serve this person the rest of my life. That should be in the vows.
Yes.
I vow to serve you, to die to myself, to change, and to be everything that you need me to be for the rest of my life. That's the real vow right there. Put that in your vows, and maybe you'll rethink getting married.
I dare you.
Maybe you'll rethink getting married. There ain't nothing. We make jokes about it. Like, I'll be cleaning the dishes a certain way, and she'll make a comment on how she do it differently. I'm like, babe, leave me alone. Why can't I be free? She'll be like, you're not free. You're married. You shouldn't have got married if you want to be free.
It is your life
But
now.
look, it's true. It's true. You're not free to yourself anymore. There's great freedom in marriage, but not as an individual. Together, there's a great freedom that you discover, and you become a better version of yourself. It minds that. See, marriage is a promotion. So God brings you into it so he can take you to the next level. You become a greater thing than what you were before that you never would have achieved until you got married. But you got to break yourself down first and be willing to accept that this is going to make me better. It's going to shave off my rough edges, and it's going to change me to be better for Christ. It's going to do that. And that's what it's designed to do.
And I know that, a lot of our Jalen Cacie stories are probably more geared to newlyweds or people just about to be married. But I've seen this work for people that's been married, way longer and decades, and now they're finally learning the keys and secrets to a happy marriage. So no matter where you are in your relationship, when you both become willing to give of yourself, God can change it around just like that, and you will start seeing the blessing of God operate in your relationship. So don't think that, well, we were married for 20 years and it's too late for us. Nah, it's not too late if you're willing. And that's really the key, if you're willing. Yeah. And if you got a spouse that's not willing yet, continue to pray for them. Continue to believe God for them and work on yourself. Yeah. Work on yourself and allow God to minister to you on how to minister unto the spouse that's a little bit unwilling right now. And trust me, if they love you, if they got any good feelings towards you, the love of God can penetrate anybody's heart. He can change it. He can change anybody's desire. So don't give up hope if you feel like you are in a hopeless situation, because God can do all things. You hear me? He really, really can. Because even though, we're still sort of new at marriage, I know how I was when I first got married, and he probably thought for a few minutes there, this girl she ain't about nothing. She's hard, man. But the love of God got to me, and it changed me. And once we got on the same page, our marriage just began to blossom, and I'm looking forward to the years ahead with this guy.
Me too. Marriage is a miraculous thing because it's the only thing that can take someone who's been living decades one way and change it in just a couple of years.
I know.
I mean, I'm really for
real, we're not the same two people.
My personality
at all.
has changed. Yes, the way my philosophy about the world has changed. So much has changed about me in just the space of a few years. Yeah. I spent all this time building up this version of me that wasn't really authentic once we broke down a lot of barriers. I mean, we broke down a lot of barriers, discovered some stuff about ourselves. And that's what marriage did. But we never would have found that if we were so hell-bent on trying to preserve our own identities and who we were, trying to be me. And you marry somebody selfishly so they can help you be you better. That ain't right.
And the core for both of us, really, is because we desire to be like Christ. Even as prior to being married, Christ has always been our center. So even if it challenged us individually in a way that we didn't like, we always came back to our Christness and like, okay, Lord, what would Christ do in this? What would Jesus do in this situation? And if you have any God in you, you will do the right thing. You will do the right thing.
Yeah. That's what we learned. We hope you learned something from this.
Let us know if you have by leaving a comment. We really love reading you guys' comments. Like, it blesses us to hear from you guys. So let us know if these Jalen Cacie stories are really blessing you, because it blesses us to share it. And we're sharing from a perspective of gone through some stuff, going through some stuff. So y'all are like on the journey with our marriage as well, because obviously this September will make 3 years for us. So we haven't been married that long, but we've experienced some stuff. We shared those stories. We're going through things right now, and so you guys are like on the journey with us.
Yeah.
So hey, come along for the ride. You know, we love having you guys. So
yeah, leave a comment.
please leave a comment.
If you got a question, ask us a question.
Yes.
If you want to answer it, we will. If we don't, we won't. So, just do that.
If
Like
you know
it,
the answer,
share
we
it.
will share it with you.
Yeah, share it. Share it with your spouse.
Yeah.
Or your engaged person you're engaged with. Maybe this will actually be a good help for you to break up with someone who you're not married to yet. You're like, I don't think it's going to work.
Wow,
This video, this may be a breakup video for somebody. You know what? I watched this video. I think the Lord is leading me in a different
Hashtag
direction.
breakup video.
Blame it on the Lord. Lord, tell me we're going in 2 different directions. We're not ready to be together. Hey, maybe someone need that. But we love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe.
Yes.
Hit the notification bell to see our next video. We've been on a weekly basis, so we're going to hopefully keep that going.
Hopefully keep it up. You never know. You never know. But for now, weekly.
Yeah. So just hit the notification bell after you subscribe. We love you guys. We'll see you next time.